Hello, so this video is how to be happy alone. Some people are naturally happy alone, but for others, being solo is a challenge. If you fall into the latter group, there are many ways to become more comfortable with being alone. Yes, even if you're a hardcore extrovert. Regardless of how you feel about being alone, building a good relationship with yourself is a worthy investment. After all, you do spend quite a lot of time with yourself, so it might as well learn to enjoy it. Being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Before getting into the different ways to find happiness in being alone, it's important to untangle these two concepts, being alone and being lonely. While there's some overlap between them, they're completely different concepts. Maybe you're a person who absolutely basks in solitude. You're not antisocial, friendless, or loveless. You're just quite content with alone time. In fact, you look forward to it. That's simply being alone, not being lonely. On the other hand, maybe you're surrounded by family and friends, but not really relating beyond the surface level, which has you feeling empty and disconnected. Or maybe being alone just leaves you sad and longing for company. That's loneliness. So there are some short-term tips to get you started. These tips are aimed to help you get the ball rolling. They might not transform your life overnight, but they can help you get more comfortable with being alone. Some of them might be exactly what you needed to hear. Others may not make sense for you. Use them as stepping stones, add to them, and shape them along the way to suit your own lifestyle and personality. So 1, avoid comparing yourself to others. This is easier said than done, but try to avoid comparing your social life to anyone else's. It's not the number of friends you have or the frequency of your social outings that matter. It's what works for you. Remember, you really have no way of knowing if someone else with a bunch of friends and a stuffed social calendar is actually happy. 2, take a step back from social media. Social media isn't inherently bad or problematic, but if scrolling through your feeds make you feel left out and stressed, take a few steps back. That feed doesn't tell the whole story, not by a long shot. 3, take a phone break. Noticing a theme here, cell phones and social media have undoubtedly changed the concept of being alone. Is anyone really alone when they can pick up their phones and text or call just about anyone, or check in on what high school acquaintance is up to without even having to talk with them? That's not to say that technology isn't an incredibly helpful tool for building community and feeling close to loved ones who might feel far away, but it's easy to rely on devices as a way to avoid being alone with your thoughts. 4, carve out time to let your mind wander. Does the thought of doing absolutely nothing unsettle you? That's probably because it's been a long time since you've allowed yourself to just be. Experiment by setting a timer for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes with no television, music, internet, podcast, books. Find a comfortable place to sit or lie down, close your eyes, darken the room, or stare out the window if you prefer. If that's too sedentary, try a repetitive task such as knitting, dribbling a basketball, or washing dishes. Just let your mind wander, truly wander, and see where it takes you. Next, 5, take yourself out on a date. This may sound cliche, but self-dates can be a powerful tool for learning how to be happy alone. Not sure what to do? Imagine you're trying to impress an actual date and show them a good time. Where would you take them? What would you want them to see or experience? Now take yourself on that date. It might feel a bit odd at first, but chances are you'll see at least a few other folks doing solo or purchasing a movie ticket for one. Next, get physical. Exercise helps release endorphins, those neurotransmissions in your brain that can make you feel happier. If you're new to exercise, start with just a few minutes a day, even if it's just morning stretches. 7, spend some time with nature. Yes, another cliche, but seriously, get outside, lounge in the backyard, take a walk in the park, or hang out by the water. Absorb the sight, sound, and smells of nature. Feel the breeze on your face. Lean into the perks of being alone. Some people find it especially difficult to be happy while living alone. Surely it might be a little quiet, and there's no one there to listen to you vent after work or remind you that turn off the stove. But living solo has its perks. Naked vacuuming, anyone? Try to take advantage of physical and mental space that comes with living alone. Take up all the space, spread out, and have a dance party like no one's watching because, well, they're not. 9, volunteer. There are so many ways to volunteer your time in service of others. You can volunteer in person or help out remotely from home. Either way, helping others can make you feel good. Plus, it can help you feel connected to others while still getting in some quality alone time. Research for volunteer opportunities in your neighborhood. It's important to find something that feels right for you. Make sure their needs are a good fit with what you're willing and able to do. 10, acknowledge things that you're grateful for. Research shows that gratefulness can boost feelings of happiness and hopefulness. It's easy to take things for granted as you go about your day. Devote some time to reflect on the things you're grateful for. 11, give yourself a break. Self-reflection is a good thing. Harsh self-judgment is not. It eats away at your self-confidence and happiness. When that negative inner critic comes along, turn towards that more positive voice that resides in your head. 12, serve yourself a top-notch meal. No dinner companion. Eating alone doesn't have to be eating prepackaged food in front of the TV. Prepare a fabulous meal for one. Make plans for solo outings. So this is similar to something they said earlier about taking yourself out on a date. You can just go out by yourself. And now there are some long-term tips to keep the ball rolling. As you become more comfortable with the day-to-day aspects of being alone, you can start digging a bit deeper. So 15, shake up your routine. Even a routine that works well can eventually morph into a rut, leaving you uninspired. Think about your day-to-day routine and immediate surrounded. What's still working for you and what's become dull. 16, strengthen your coping skills. Life has its stressors and bad things happen. There's no point in ignoring this reality. But remember that times something bad happened and you've figured out how to deal with it, that's a skill worth developing. Consider how you coped then and why it worked. So this is a list of different types of coping skills you can use. So you got self-soothing, so find something that soothes you, something to taste, smell, hear, using your 5 senses. Distraction, something that takes your mind off of it, puzzles, books, artwork, music, movies. Opposite action, so doing something the opposite of what your impulse is. Emotional awareness, examples of this are chart of emotions, journaling, art, using mindfulness, and then you also have the crisis plan for yourself. 17, nurture your relationships. As you become more comfortable being alone, you might find yourself spending less time socializing. There's nothing wrong with that. But close social connections are still important. Arrange to visit with someone in your family, a friend, or go hang out with the team after work. 18, practice forgiveness. What does forgiveness have to do with our happiness? A lot, as it turns out. Along with other health benefits, the act of forgiveness may reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Forgiveness can take a lot of time and take a lot off your mind. While you're at it, don't forget to forgive yourself as well. And then 19, take care of your health. Emotional health can affect physical health and vice versa. Taking care of your physical health may help boost your overall happiness. 20, make plans for the future. Where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years, both personally and professionally? What do you need to accomplish those goals? Writing this down can be helpful in guiding your discussion. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes all self-care, exercise, and gratitude lists in the world aren't enough to shake feelings of sadness or loneliness. Consider reaching out to a therapist if you're overly stressed and finding it difficult to cope. You have symptoms of anxiety, you have symptoms of depression. You don't have to wait for a crisis point to get into therapy. Simply wanting to get better and spending time alone is a perfectly good reason to make an appointment. Concerned about cost? Well, there was guides actually online to help with every budget. So Thank you for listening.